I like to tinker with things. And this needs built. So here's what was in the box. This is a Raspberry Pi with a case, power supply, the M2 hat with an NVMe drive. This will go together, go into that. Then the active cooler to go into this, and the preloaded Raspberry Pi SD card. So, open these things one at a time so I'm not making a huge mess, hopefully not getting anything too dusty. So let's start with the Pi. Open here, it's helpful. Alright, so got some instructions here. Alright, cool, whatever. This did come with a handy little guide. I may or may not need it, but for right now I don't, because this stuff is pretty straightforward. So here's the hat. Hats are little like extensions of the base Pi. We've got the spacers and bolts. Here's the hat itself. This was the drive, and that's the cooler. I should actually double check whether the cooler or the hat goes on first. Step one. Step one is the active cooler, and then the hat. Cool. All right, so let's get the cooler out. So it's just a tiny little heat sink here. Power, fan. So this will plug in. Here you can see it has, you can't see it, but on the board here in the white says fan. It's got a little cover on it I'm going to take off very carefully. Boop. This comes, which is nice, pre-cooling, what's the word I'm looking for? The thermal pads, yep. So make sure those get lined up right. Yep. So then these will, you can kind of see the little, little barbed hook. So that'll push through here and here. So I want to get it as close to perfect as I can so I don't mess up the paste. There we go. And 1, 2. That's seated pretty firmly. I'll plug in the wire. This only goes one way. The connectors are shaped so that you cannot put it in backwards. That's nice. My fat fingers could take care of it. Maybe I should have plugged that in before I snapped it down. Oops. Either way, there we go. Got it started. I'll just gently push evenly on both sides of the connector so don't snap anything. Just get some tiny screwdriver so I can push evenly. Oh, I guess that is seated. Okay, nice. So hopefully when I plug that in, it spins up. Fingers crossed. Here's our hat. So this is going to line up so the 40-pin GPIO will align. I'm guessing I have to make it so that that goes like that. Wait, what am I doing here? What am I missing? I guess I will use the instructions. That's cool. Sometimes Sometimes things are, to me, obvious. It might not be for everybody. But then, I should have a GPO extender, huh? GPIO, not GPO. GPO is the General Post Office. That is in Dublin. Here we go. That makes more sense now. Still stuck in the box. As I was saying, sometimes stuff feels obvious to me and I don't need the instructions. Sometimes I do. Both are valid. Just don't go fucking around and be like, oh, dudes don't need instructions. Yeah, sometimes you do, and that's cool. So, looks like first put on the extender for the pins. I better check. Is this actually recording? Good. Okay, that would have been fucking annoying. So, pin extender. This will give me access to these pins in the future if I want to add any kind of functionality to this. I'm not super good at that sort of thing, but you never know. Alright. So I need to thread a screw from the bottom and into a spacer. What they don't tell you is there are two different lengths of screws. I've got long and short. So let's see if we can figure out which one goes where. It doesn't say. So let's think this through. This is going to sit here. I think I'm going to want to put the spacer here, goes in the middle, obviously. So that this is supported well, it doesn't bend. I don't know if there's a difference, really. We'll go long screws on the bottom because I don't know if it makes a difference. So let's thread that through and thread this on. And let's just see if it works, because if it doesn't, we can always try plan B. Okay, that went on fairly well. Let's just do that 4 more times. Okay, that one does not like to turn the support because of where the heatsink is, so I'll screw the screw instead. The first one I just held the screw steady with my thumb and turned to the top because I could get a better grip on that. Now these are plastic, so do not go hulking out and snapping it either. Last thing you want is a thread snapped off and the head just falling off, and then you've got no support for your hat. Just finger tight, do not overdo it. I've got 4 sets of, or 2 sets of 4 of the short screws. Maybe I don't need the long screws at all. I'm gonna undo this. And maybe those long screws will come in handy in some other way. Because it doesn't say. Well, I don't know, it doesn't say. I didn't check ahead, so maybe I should, maybe I won't, whatever. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream of consciousness stuff. I'm not a streamer. I obviously have a pretty low-tech setup. You saw my attempt at making a phone stand last video. Or maybe you haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I'll see if I get this stuff uploaded chronologically, because I've got, as of this recording, like parts of 3 different videos going, so we'll see what happens. I'm still learning the basics, and turns out this actually takes some skill. Who knew? I'm kidding, of course. Quality content takes skill. I'm trying to be useful or amusing, informative, I don't know, some combination of all that. hopefully you guys watch this and enjoy it and maybe learn something. If not, well, I can just keep talking to the wall. Okay, here's the last one. This one is going to be the trickiest one with the header here. Yep, got it started, so I'm going to screw this one from the bottom. Okay, so this will sit on, make sure I get this the right way around. Yeah, the ribbon cable goes away from the USB. So here we've got a ribbon cable taped to the back. I'm going to very, very carefully take that off so I don't mar the PCB or the cable itself. Just get it started, and then I'll use my finger so I have a little more control. So this will actually be what transfers the data from the NVMe drive to the desktop, or to the, not the desktop, the Pi, obviously, it's not a desktop. The ribbon cable connector has this little brown tabby we need to pull up gently. It does not come all the way out, it just slides up, okay? Don't try and take it all the way off. This will sit here, and this cable will insert, where does it insert? Vertically, there we go. So, I don't know if you can see, there's a slot that runs this way that I'm going to feed the ribbon cable into. There, you can feel it seat when it goes in, and then you push the brown gently back down to secure it, and it's not going anywhere. If I can move this fan cable out of the way and get the 40 GPIO header seated, that slid in nicely. That's nice. And then we'll just secure it with 4 more screws. Like I said, these are plastic screws, so do not go ham all over this. I just thought of something. Where is the SD card load? Son of a bitch. Pardon my language. Oh, it's on the bottom. Nice. My Pi Zero 2W, the SD card loads under the heatsink, and it is not impossible, but it is a little annoying to try and get it out. And I just realized I might have shot myself in the foot, but we are all good. Okay, I'll check these bottom ones too. Just, like I said, nothing is overly tight, just gentle. Okay. Now, I bought the preloaded SD card because it came in the kit, but I've also, with no problem, used the image installer that comes from Raspberry Pi's website, or you can use Balena Etcher too. I've used that for other disk images, but this should, theoretically, have Raspberry Pi OS on it preloaded, so that I don't have to do anything except install the software I want. So this is just going to slide right here. You can, well, if you could see, it even says in white text here, SD card. Pins down, tabby over to the side. Just slide right in like that. Try and clean as I go. I'm not super good at that, even though I do know somewhere in the back of my head that that's best practice. Put those back in there in case I need them someday. And then our new hard drive. I got the 0.5 terabyte, the 512. We could go bigger, I'm sure, but that's all I need for now. And if I need to go bigger in the future, I always can, assuming AI and whatever stupid data centers have not completely fucked my ability to buy new equipment. So NVMe drives have a little notch that will correspond to the pins here, so you cannot put it in upside down. I mean, if you do, you broke it. So unscrew this, screw this. You see this screw has a little notch in it right about here that will seat here to hold the drive. I'm gonna take off this little, I think this is just for packing. No, actually, I'm gonna leave that there until I know I need to take it off. So this is just gonna slide in here gently. Hear it click. And then the thumb screw, just very gently. You do not need a lot of, just crank on this. There, it stopped. Drive is secure. Ribbon cable is secure. SD card is entered. So now this can fire up. This will work. But I did buy a case for it. Well, the kit came with a case. Like I said, you could theoretically buy all of this stuff piecemeal and decide, I want a case, I don't want a case. I went ahead and got the case because I got honestly overwhelmed with all the options, and then I found this pre-curated, everything you need. Screws for camera module, don't have a camera. Silicone pad for M2 hat case, perfect. We are gonna want that. Just it's like clip together plastic. Just fine. I'm not looking for anything fancy here. Let's see what this recommends for this thermal paste or silicone pad, whatever it is. The case. Okay, well, I'll cut that out. That was boring. So we have a case with cutouts that will align with our ports here. So we just need to, it does say to take out the card, I assume for clearance purposes. So let's take that out. These screws will go into some holes here. It says it should just line them up at an angle and then seat it. Okay. Yeah, I can see the little catches. I just want to be careful. I don't want anything to break. And if anything does break, I hope it's the plastic case and not the computer. But I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of how that's feeling. This doesn't make compelling TV or streaming, whatever, YouTube. But hopefully, it does show you how, real world conditions things go. I'm just prying the side of the case outward slightly to help it get started. There, that feels fairly seated. I can put the card back in. It does have a very handy port for the card at the bottom so that you can swap out whatever you need. Bigger card, different OS, whatever you are doing there. Silicone pad for M2 hat case. Oh, I see. These are, if it'll come out. It's not for the hat itself. They're the little rubber feet that'll go in here. So these probably should, yep, these will peel off. Okay. So first I'm going to just snap the lid on. I'm going to be very careful. This ribbon cable, put this in first so I know that it's in there safely. Just pinch around. There we go. That's secure. And one. 2. And 3. I'm not real happy with how that's fitting, but I'll make it work. And 4. Okay. So then we've got our power supply. I went, like I said, pre-built kit, came with what I need, but this will provide the proper wattage, voltage, amperage, whatever the proper word is there. Got 2 micro HDMI ports, and then this is be the power supply. Got internet, USB, various generations and speeds. Came with an mini HDMI cable, so I can plug this into my monitor upstairs and do all the work there. So here it is assembled. I am probably going to call this video 1. Video 2 come out in the future, actually doing the computery bits. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't bore you to death. I will see you again in the next one. Bye.